Good afternoon, everyone. So, Gagan and Kashyap and I have a pretty onerous task because this is last session before lunch. So we got to keep you guys involved and hopefully also help all of you build a good appetite for the lunch. And above all that, make all of you fantasize about a lot of medals in the next Olympics in the Paris Games in 2024. Hope we tick all those three boxes, Gagan and Kashyap. But before we dive forward to 2024, I think we should just get back in time a little bit, because the two gentlemen to my right have a London connect. Going back to 2012, Gagan won the bronze in shooting, and Kashyap did such staggering achievement and went all the way to the quarterfinals, and that gave a boost to badminton in the country. So I want the two of you to just get a bit nostalgic about 2012 games and kind of recap your memories. Kashyap?
First of all, thank you for inviting me here. Actually, just not being part of the Olympics, but the whole qualification process was a very tough process.
Okay.
It lasts for a year, our qualification process. So it starts 1 year before the Olympics. And like you, I don't know if everyone knows, but ranking points have to be defended every year. So since 2011, I was in the top 10 of the world ranking. And once the qualification starts, I'll have to defend all my points from the previous year. So it always gets tough, even if you're in the top 10, because once the qualification period starts, you'll have to defend all your points. And actually, it was a very tough year for me. My sister passed away during the qualification period in July, and I almost didn't play an event for 3 months in between the qualification period. So it was a very tough time for me. But frankly, I was far ahead in the rankings as the number one from India. But my close compatriot, during those few months, played extraordinarily well. He was reaching quarterfinals and semifinals of events, and he caught up very close to me. And then it was a tough race from, say, October onwards. And we were so close because we both used to compete with each other from under 13 years. And then under 17 years, we fought for a place for the Asian Junior Championships. We fought for a place for the World Junior Championships. Then we were always 1 and 2 in the ranking in India. We just played the National Championships final. So we were very close to each other also. We would always share rooms together. And so this journey towards Olympics was, I think, one of the best experiences I had. I learned a lot from it, to be under pressure, to face challenges. And because I was in national camps from under 16 years, I was always away from the family. Because of this one incident, I got really close to my family. I could understand a lot more things than usual. Even though my Gachibowli was the academy and my house was in Meripatnam, I would probably go once in a week for a couple of hours and come back. I would prefer staying in the national camp and being in that zone all the time. But so I learned a lot of things because of that qualification period. Yeah, somehow I got lucky and I made it. I just made like few more points than my colleague and qualified for the Olympics. And the thing that changed in me was I knew it was a big responsibility. I'm representing India. My coach Gopi sir made sure that I realized that, and it just changed a lot of things in me. The way I trained, the way I approached training. Basically responsibility. Till then I was a little careless, I would say. I mean, I would just depend on the coach and depend on my parents and not think much about it. But somehow the qualifying for Olympics and being part of the Indian team and changed a lot of things in me. Got a lot of responsibility. I'm representing India. I have to do well. Everyone's looking at me. I need to prove myself. I need to prove that we are a competitive nation in badminton. Although we had the world beaters, already. We had a bronze medalist in Jwala and Ashwini. We had world number 1, world number top 3 in Saina Nehwal. We had a good mixed doubles pair in Jwala and Diju. So we had good players already. But it just felt that after a long time, men's singles is being represented. and at a top level. I was in the top 10 at that time, so I wanted to prove myself, and so those are the memories. I could beat a top 10 player. I was an underdog. I was ranked I was ranked 16 or 17. I was before the Olympics, so I had a tough draw, and I beat. In my draw, I had 3 players whom I had lost to in the last 4 months, so it was a tough draw. And I beat all of them and made it to the quarterfinals. And I did a good first game against Chongwei, but fell short in the second game. But it was a great experience. And after losing, also, I remember Gopi sir telling me that you belong here. Don't think you have achieved something very great. Quarterfinals, this is where you belong, in the top 8, and think of it as a thing which you will do quite often, and think of how do you improve from here. Don't think it is a major achievement. And frankly, I didn't realize that this was the first quarterfinalist from India, and I didn't even know all these details because I know that Gopi sir played the Olympics. I know a few more played the Olympics, but it was not in my mind. Only after I came back to India, I realized that okay, this is a big achievement, and then I remember even discussing with Gopi sir about it, and this is the first quarterfinalist. Then he was like, you know how he is, he says, so what? It's just a normal thing for you. You're doing well, and you're reaching quarters and semis of every event, and so he kept me always grounded and made sure I kept improving. So I'm very blessed to have such a coach, and it was a great experience. Great experience.
Sharpshooter Gagan, your memories?
So that was my third Olympics. I was not so lucky. I shot my first Olympics in Athens when I was 21. It was like going into a toy store and looking at all the famous greats. You could see Mary Pierce, you could see Martina Navratilova. You walk into the dining hall, and there are these sporting greats sitting around, and you're walking in like, wow, where have I come? You're rubbing shoulders next to each other. So it was a kid in a toy store kind of a moment. Second Olympics, I was going into the Olympics, I was world number 1. I was touted to be the favorite to win a medal. Of course, things didn't go as planned. I finished 9th with the same score as the guy who was in the final. So there were 5 shooters who shot 595. Abhinav shot a 596, 1 point more than me. And there were 4 shooters who went into the final, and I was out of the final because they had a count-back system. So the last 10 shots, the highest score gets to go ahead of you. So I finished 9th on the same score as 595 and 4 others going into the final. So it was quite a heartbreak for me. I had sleepless nights. My mom was hospitalized because of the stress, and it was a difficult time. But 2 months later, because you have the ecosystem, Kashyap mentioned that, the support system is very important. So my support system sprung into action. You had friends, you had people who encouraged me in Hyderabad, out of Hyderabad, my coaches. So they said, don't worry, take it easy. Let's prepare for the next competition. The next competition was the World Cup final, where I shot a world record. I was the first Indian to shoot a world record. I shot a 600 out of 600. So that was a comeback. Going into London, I mean, it was my third Olympics. I had heard stories saying that, 70% of people win in their first Olympics. So going into your third, I'm not sure. I said maybe I'm the 30% that don't win an Olympics in their first Olympics, don't win a medal in their first Olympics. So at the back of my mind, it was a very difficult challenge where, I couldn't take another setback because my parents, so when you're going to the Olympics, you're not the only one playing. Your doodh wala, your paper wala, your maid, your cook at home, your parents, everyone is playing Olympics with you. Your whole support system is playing Olympics with you. Everyone in the media sees that there's only one athlete, but the whole ecosystem behind is actually rooting for you. They have sacrificed something or the other, not going to parties, not going to functions, not having their son on important house functions, no Diwali, no New Year, no birthday, nothing. So it's all, it's all done that way because that is the kind of dedication that going to the Olympics requires. So going to the Olympics, I had this interesting challenge. I had to tell my mother that, I'm not ready. I might not win. Don't worry about it. Because I couldn't afford another shock to her and lose her. So at home, I was telling that, don't worry, I'm not getting a medal. But inside, I had to tell myself, no, this is my last chance. I have to do it. So can you imagine the kind of personality that at that point of time, which was necessary? I mean, my first coach, Niranjan Reddy, sitting here, he knows everything. So at home, you're balancing stuff out, but when you step out of home, you're in a total different zone. You have to give your best. You have to go out there and win a medal. So that ticker actually reminds me of the medal. So I'll dictate. Nobody knows about the story, so it's very interesting to hear. I hope we have the time left. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So it was my third time, and I was preparing like no one's business. And my coach that time was a Kazakh coach. His name was Stanislav Lapidus, and I had a mind trainer. And the entire team, we went to London, the pre-Olympic London World Cup. We saw the range. We knew how it was. We went into the games. I told myself that look, I'm not going to start my shooting unless I settle down. So you had a brief round of sighters when the match starts. So 9 o'clock my match started, and slowly ticked away. So until 9:30, it's a 1 hour 45-minute match. So at 9:30, I actually shot my first record shot. So everybody back home was wondering what's happening. He's not started his match. How will he complete? I said until I settle down, I will not shoot, because you know you have to calm your nerves down when it's. So I didn't want to take any chances. I didn't want to miss even a single shot. I mean, I had to control my heartbeat. I had to control my mind. Even believe me, even your nail starts to sweat when you are at the Olympics. So it's absolutely a different experience. Of course, I started shooting. I shot 100 out of 100. Next series was another 100 out of 100. Next series was another 100 out of 100. Next series I shot, it was a 48 shot. The 48 shot was probably the most difficult shot of my life. Because in Athens, I shot a 8.8 on my 48th shot. I missed the final. 592 I shot, 593 was in the final. In Beijing, 48 shot was an 8.8. I missed again the final. When I came to the 48 shot, my heart was completely beating like no one's business. It was like on maybe like 200 pulse rate or something. I was like, no, don't let this go. So 48 shot, I had to take a break 3 times. And then I shot a 10.7 on the 48 shot. I said, chalo, I have one monkey off my back now. So I said, okay, now next hurdle, now I have another 18 shots left. So suddenly the clock, I watched, the clock had 13 minutes on it, and I had 18 shots left. So slowly the clock ticked away. It's exactly 17 minutes, 47 seconds right now on this clock as well. So suddenly the clock started ticking, and I'm like taking my time. I shot a 9. So I said, look, I've shot 597 out of 600 many times. If I have to win the Olympics, I have to be in the top 3 bracket. I have to shoot a 598. I am already 2 shots down, which means I am already on 598. I can't afford to shoot another 9. The difference between a 9 and a 10 is one hair's breadth here and there. Just to kind of give you an idea, it's 10 meters away where I am sitting, and the 10th ring is a dot put by a pen on my shirt, let's say, and you have to shoot it from 10 meters away. So that is the kind of stability it requires to shoot an Olympic 10-meter air rifle match. So from 10 meters away, you have to shoot a dot, which is 0.5 millimeters. So 9.9 means instead of, that 5 millimeters, you shot a 0.6 millimeter, slightly like half a millimeter here and there. Less than half a millimeter, actually. So then I came slowly, the clock started ticking. I said last shot is the most important shot, because people make or break their events in the last shot. Because you don't let go until the last shot, right? So suddenly the clock started ticking. I had 1 minute, 30 seconds on the clock. It was a tick, tick. My pulse was beating. I was on and off the target. It was beating so much that it was going off the target, coming on the target. So I said, now how do I shoot? Because it's just going tick, 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 tick. And I'm like, what to do? I took a break. I said, okay. Then everybody's wondering, the clock is ticking. He has 1 minute, 1 shot left. How will he do? He took a break. Again, he has to pick up the rifle. So I picked up the rifle again. Again, clock started ticking, 57, 56, 55, 54. I took a break again because I was not ready, because it was moving too much. So then I calmed myself down, and suddenly the clock started ticking, 13, 12, 11, 10, and 8 seconds, last 8 seconds are left, and I shot the last shot, which is a 10.8. And I shot a 598. So after 598, I said, chalo, I have another monkey off my back. Now I can call myself an Olympic finalist, if not anything else. I saw the ranking, I was number 3. There was 599, 2 598s along with me, then 597, 597, 597. So I said, okay, it's going to be a tough fight, because in the finals you have only 10 shots. And in those 10 shots, you have to, the fight is between them. And it's not like if you're a good shooter of your country, it doesn't mean, the other shooter is not good. So one shooter of each country is good enough to beat you. And I was the best standing shooter in my time in India. But it might not be that, the other guy is also, if he shot a 598, he's also at the same level. At 597, 592, same level. So anything may happen in the final. So I had this Chinese guy next to me. I had a Italian and a Romanian next to me on the other side. The Chinese guy was a little short. So I was overlooking him and I could see what he was shooting. And so I tried to push. At one point of time, I was on number 1. Then I slipped to number 3. I said, yaar beta, thoda sa defensive ho ja. Offensive is not working right now. At least save a 3rd position. So I said, theek hai. So I saw on the ranking, normally nobody sees the ranking because they're all focusing on themselves. So I said, no, this is a different kind of motivation I have to give myself. I have to challenge. So I started seeing the score. So when I saw the score, I saw the Chinese kind of catching up to me. So I had only one target. I shifted to plan B because plan A was not working. When I was a bit offensive, I shot a few 9s. If you see the Olympic final on YouTube, you'll know. So I shifted to plan B. I said, okay, now let me see what he's shooting. And then I'll shoot. So I picked up the rifle. I was waiting for him to shoot. He shot, okay, 10.2. Theek hai. And I shot 10.4. Okay, 2.2 more than him. Another shot, 10.6. Okay, I shot at 10.7. 1.1 more than him. So in the last shot, he understood that I was seeing him. That he is waiting for me to shoot. So on the last shot, he picked up the rifle and he was slowly, you have 45 seconds to shoot a shot, basically. Or 1 minute, I don't remember now. So he picked up the rifle, he's waiting. I said, you now want to play? No problem. I was 0.3 ahead of him. So I said, I have to shoot. If he shoots a 10, even if I shoot a 9.7, I'll still win. If he shoots a 10.3, I shoot a 10.0, I still win. So anyways, he was waiting. He wanted to run me out of time. So that, I don't have time to aim and shoot. So I picked up my rifle much ahead. I said, tu maar le, chala le. So I put my head, he said, okay, I'm shooting. He also shot. So I looked at the corner of the eye, said 10.0. I said, no problem. Patak, 10.7 I shot. मैंने कहा चलो यार, bronze medal जीत गए. मैं अब चैन की सांस लेंगे. So the first thought was that, 3 Olympics and finally the monkey's off my back. So this is a short story I just explained to you in 8 minutes. But the effort is not 8 minutes, not 8 days, not 80 days. It is for more than 800 days. Because when an athlete wins its first medal in any competition, he wants to win the Olympic gold. So Olympics might come for everyone for every 4 years. But for us, Olympics is every day. Every day of our life is Olympics.
So Gagan and Kashyap, has India built on the incremental benefits, of 2012? And our medal tally is still in the single digits. Of course, you have the Neeraj Chopra effect right now. The whole country is thrilled with his exploits. But do you think as a sporting nation, we have built on the successes of the previous years?
Cheating nahi karna. So absolutely, I think we are in a much better space today. I feel that India is on the cusp of a sporting revolution. The amount of interest that is generated today for sport has been unprecedented. I would not like to go into nitty-gritties of what the state is doing, but if you see the overall scenario, I would like to say that yes, and you have to understand that a Neeraj Chopra or a PV Sindhu might be winning that medal, that gold medal, the silver medal in any competition. But the guy who is sweeping your floor in a sports facility also gets benefited. So the whole ecosystem is running now and it's on the cusp of becoming a sports industry. Sports is now almost on the cusp of becoming an industry because you have so many people involved in the whole ecosystem right now. The system is so thirsty that no amount of manpower will quench its thirst, for sure. There's always need for more. There will always be need for more support. There will always be need for more sportsmen for the country. All that is going to be there. But the kind of influx and the interest that has been generated because of a Neeraj Chopra, PV Sindhu, a Mary Kom, or even in cricket, it's unbelievable, it's immense. And the way it's happening now, if we continue to keep going this way, I think the time will not come when, India will be one of the most fierce competitors competing abroad in any competition.
Kashyap?
Yeah, I'm sure it has, what Gagan said is right. The interest generated is so much, so many people taking up the sport. Numbers are more, so more support is required, and we are getting there. I was the first batch of players in the national camp when the actual national camp started, where 6 months we were training together, and Gopi sir started it, and I was the senior most in his batch when I was 17 years old. And from then on, if you see, we didn't have we had one coach. We had a team of 10-15 people traveling. We didn't have funding for playing 15 to 20 tournaments, which every other country was doing at that time, just to maintain rankings and get up rankings. So that changed. We were training together. The best in the country were training together. First, that used to not happen. The next thing, we had a physiotherapist with us who was taking care of us since 2009. The national camp started in 2007-06. So we didn't have a physio till then. And in London Olympics, the entire Indian contingent had one physio. The entire Indian contingent had one physio. We didn't have our physio. Our physio came, but he was staying in a hotel outside. And later, I stayed in that hotel, and me and the physio with the badminton team shared a room. And the physio of the badminton team was taking physio sessions with boxers, with wrestlers, with different other sports. There was one physio who came with the hockey Indian team, and then that's about it. So there was no one there. And imagine the Indian contingent had only one physio. So from then on, we have changed we've progressed a lot. Now, in badminton itself, we have 2 physios traveling. We have 4-5 coaches traveling. Just now, the World Championships concluded, and Prannoy won the bronze medal. I can flash back to my World Championships in 2013, where I was ranked 6th, and in my quarterfinals, I didn't have a coach. And that was like after Prakash sir, no one had won a bronze medal or any medal in men's singles. And quarterfinals were that match, and I lost that match leading match point. And I remember Saina was playing on the court next to me, and that was the televised court. Gopi sir was sitting there, and I didn't have a coach for me because obviously on a televised court, Gopi sir has to be there. I mean, and Saina was a favorite to win a medal, and I'm sure I was not the favorite to win a medal, but I was in a match where,
That's when she became your favorite, huh?
Yeah, so I didn't have a coach. So, and now I could see Prannoy having, my colleague before, Guru Saidat and Gopi sir sitting. And I can't imagine the effect it would have had if I had just a coach. My physio came and sat for me at the crucial stages of the match, but I just missed, in crucial points, I just missed the coach there. And it was a history-making match, and I missed it. So the same situation came in Commonwealth Games, and Gopi sir made sure that me and Sindhu were playing the semi-finals and together, and Gopi sir was switching from her court to my court to her court to my court, and he made sure this was happening because I told him the entire year that I missed the medal because of you. I made sure that he's not going to miss my match now, because I know the difference when a coach sits. And then when every World Championships is happening, my memory goes back to that day I was alone. There was no help, and I felt miserable. And so from then on, if you see from 2008, national camps, the physios, the trainers, every year we've been progressing. We are lucky that, we have someone like Gopi sir who was very dedicated to the sport and trying to improve the system over and over and over, working with the system, which is extremely tough. I would just say we are doing a good job, but we need more because the numbers are more. We just have to I just feel we have to beat other countries just with the numbers. that is our advantage. But the system and the support system has to only keep increasing. It is going steadily. It's on the rise, but something more needs to be done. We can't. I mean. I know Gagan also would feel, but when someone says that we have so much population and we have 2 medals, 3 medals, or 6 medals, it hurts. As a sports person, it hurts, and we want to be amongst the top nations, and it is possible for us. I don't see. Sometimes I look at athletes from other countries. Say, suppose we are always comparing to China in badminton, especially, and I feel the athletes from there and the athletes from here. I always discuss with coaches that our guys are so motivated, always willing to work hard and always like extremely thoughtful about the game, and they are quite relaxed because their systems are under place. And then these guys who come, they are not exceptional guys like this, working extremely hard and extremely thinking about the game all the time, but they are very relaxed all the time and everything is working for them around, and then they keep producing champions. We are more stressed, I would say, because everyone is stressed about their support system. कि फंडिंग कहाँ से आएगा, मेरा रैंकिंग गिर गया तो what is going to happen to me, oh shit, my sponsor is going to be missed. And I have faced it in my career because I got injured multiple times, long-term injuries, 6 months, 8 months, and I lost sponsors, I lost funding. Luckily, I earned some bit of money to support myself, and I was making sure I could handle this, but it's not the same for every other sports person. So these kind of things, I don't know. I don't have correct answers in place right now, like exactly how it should run, but we need a better refined system. I'm sure we are working towards it, and hopefully we are doing better in the next Olympics. Yeah.
So we do have a demographic dividend, but then the medals don't obviously match it. So what is the kind of wish list both of you have vis-a-vis the government, be the center, be the state level, and the corporates? What more can they do to ensure that this talent translates into medals?
I would say the seniors, especially the ones who are established right now, are getting enough support. Okay. I cannot say that they are not. They are taken care of properly. But when you're thinking of future and you're thinking of 2024, you're thinking of 2028, just keeping Olympics as a target, the next group of players need little more support, and constant support, because I can see, say for the last 2 years, I can just talk about badminton. I don't know what is happening in the other sports, but in badminton, Japan, China, Indonesia, they are sending almost 20, 25 singles players for 20 tournaments in the year, constantly playing. The current world champion also, Kunlavat, I think he started when he was 16. He's playing international tournaments constantly. So, and everyone are working together and training together and competing with each other and being sent to tournaments and competing against the best in the world. And then eventually when their time is coming, they're already having enough experience. They're quite settled, and they know what to do and how to, work their way up in the rankings and how to perform at big events. So that is a little missing here, I would say, especially in the last 3-4 years. That the top players are taken care of, and I sometimes believe that the top players they can take care of themselves. They have so much support, they can take care of themselves. The focus should be on the next batch of players, the next
grassroots.
I wouldn't say the absolute grassroots. Now, absolute grassroots, I would say badminton has a lot of academies. The support system is quite good there. Everyone has to go through the grind. You just can't. It should not be like so easy for them. Everyone has to go through the grind. But I'm saying the next set of, say the juniors, the under 19, under 18s, under 16s, they need so much exposure. By the time they reach 20, 23, 24, they are having a lot of exposure. And this only happens with a lot of funding. And to develop a world-class coaching system as well. It only happens, this cycle has to keep running. I don't know how many sports, like say suppose, the next set of players, now the current generation, if we want to get into coaching, there is no particular, it's not running like Korea, China, or the other countries, where immediately they're offered jobs as coaches with some kind of targets, and they are coming into the system. Here it is not like that. Like suppose if I quit in 2 years and I want to be into coaching, I'm not sure what I'm going to do or how I'm going to do. Either I have my own academy or coming into the system, but when I'm coming into the system, there is no particular path where, I can go as a top 5 player in the world, and even the current batch of players, in 5 years, they will be retiring. What is their part towards helping the Indian team or helping the junior Indian team? Or there's no set rules and regulations, or there's a choice which they can make. But it is very clear in Korea, in Indonesia, in China, these people are offered, they want them to be part of the system, and then they are churning out good players, and this cycle keeps running and the players keep coming. So I think this is where we have to work. I feel even one more thing is coaches have to be respected a lot more, have to be paid a lot more. It is such a tough job. Playing as an athlete, thinking selfishly for myself, it is the easiest thing to do. Coaches, they have such a big responsibility. They are responsible of the careers. Then they have to take care of their parents. Then they have to take care of so many kids like that. It is such a tough job, coaching, but it is not respected enough in India, I would say. Whenever we win, I'm sure we are given good cash awards and everything, but I just feel the coaches are not respected enough, and somewhere that is missing. And then it is not a great, no one's motivated enough to become a coach.
Okay.
Especially the top players who have achieved big things. They want to set up their own academies, and I've seen all my colleagues, my seniors, they've all set up their own academies, but no one is into the system working for the Indian team or the junior Indian team. They're just doing their own thing because it doesn't make sense financially for them. I'm not questioning their choice, but somehow the entire system has to become in such a way that first the top players in the country are pushed towards coaching and helping the Indian team, and that can be a good system. I'm not sure how it's going to work and how we have to make it work, but at least these choices have to be given to the top players so that they come into the system and it's making sense.
Gagan?
So firstly, I don't agree with this thought that, we are a country of 140 odd people and, we've not won medals for the country. And China is winning and US is winning. So I slightly want to change the thought process. There are other countries who have lesser GDP than us, who has lesser population than us, but are winning more medals than us. So this is not correlated. In fact, our strength, if you see, for example, a country like Kenya, Kenya wins more medals than what India does. But in which sport? 1 or 2 sport. India has won medals in so many different sports. So, for one, we have a diverse playground. And we have a lot of sports doing well. They just need to be tweaked to perform better. So, it's in corporate terminology, it's called operational excellence. So we have to derive operational excellence out of the current system. The system has produced some result, which is the basis of you saying, yes, we should invest in the system. It's produced result. Now is the time to optimize it. And second part of your question is what the corporate should do. You all can see the chandelier. Can you all see the chandelier? Just have a look. This is how the pyramid of the whole sporting ecosystem is. It has to be wider on the base and slowly comes down to becoming a champion. And you see those hooks. Yeah, first tier is academies, then you have state federations, you have national federations, you have athletes, you have physios, you have support staff, you have sports education colleges. Corporates are those hooks in between, wherein the funding to an academy, from an academy to a national federation, to the Indian Olympic Association, has to trickle down. And that is the role of the corporate today. Without their support, I think it's very difficult to move forward. If you see USA, it's a completely corporate funded program. Their entire USA sport is run from funds that they generate out of corporates. If you see China, it's completely government funded. In India, we have both. But it's time to do more because we are a more diverse country. We are performing in maybe 15 different sports, 15 different events across the board, and more needs to be done.
The last question. What are the challenges in the road ahead to Paris? And we have issues like politics and associations. There's a wrestling federation fiasco that's going on. Athletes in Manipur cannot train. right? There have been straight doping allegations across a few athletes. So how do you see all this pan out in the road towards Paris? I mean,
फंसा रहा है मेरे को, सारे controversial question बोल रहे हैं, पहले तुम बोलो फिर मैं बोलूँगा.
do you think all this will settle down and the road will be clear?
See, these are problems with any developing country or any developing system. When the system develops, we are like a train. We'll have to change the engine sometimes. We will have to change the bogie sometimes. We will need to mend. So this is a process. And this process has to be a continuous one. You have to start worrying when the process stops, when there's no change happening. But when things are when you have to push a huge train towards its destination, there are a lot of things that go into, starting the engine, say, trying to kind of generate that thrust and energy and momentum. So the momentum is definitely started. Now we'll have to kind of optimize, like I said. For Paris, I think we are geared up the way we think we should. Of course, there have been a few challenges, especially with the more popular topics that we read about in the newspaper without nitpicking. But these challenges will eventually get sorted out when we come closer to the games. Because everyone in the whole, believe me, I've been an athlete and now as an administrator, I'm seeing both sides of the coin. And believe me, there's not a person who doesn't want to do good for the sport, but in their own little way. If everyone looks at one direction, which is impossible because it's not possible even in a cricket team for everyone to see in the lone direction. But if we are looking at the bigger goal of winning medals for the country, no one in the ecosystem does not want that to happen. And that's the positive sign in Indian sport today.
To wind up, how many medals, hopefully? Any wild guesses?
That now Kashyap will answer.
I have to look back at every sport, but I can say from badminton at least 2 medals is a possibility, and I hope we score more medals. But out of my mind, I can say 10 medals.
Okay.
I hope we can get to a mark of 10 medals, which will be a record. Yes, and yes. So I hope we get there, and like he said, like the previous question, I think whatever challenges you're saying, that's a system, and exactly how he's pointed out, we have to be scared if it is stopping. But these things are happening everywhere. It's a system which has to run. But yeah, the number of medals, I think I would be really happy if we could make 10 medals. The last Olympics, the medal ceremony, and especially Neeraj Chopra's medal was unbelievable, and I hope we can have a few gold medals this time, and that will be great. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you, Gagan. Thank you, Kashyap. Thank you so much.
That was an illuminating discussion with perspectives from the player's end and that of a coach. So crucial for a layperson's understanding of the effort that goes into prepping players and going through the motions of an Olympic cycle. Thank you, gentlemen. I request Mr. K.C. Vijay Kumar to now honor our panelists with a token of our gratitude and appreciation.